Everyone, and thank you for being here today. Chimigwech to Decolonize Canadian Schools, and thanks also to Rayne Fisher-Kwan and Indygo for inviting me to speak today. I also want to honor the many thousands of Ontario students who are defending evidence-based, comprehensive, and inclusive sexual health education. And all of you. My name is Gordon Orr. I'm a parent. I'm an elementary teacher. I'm a unionist. I'm a GSA advisor, and I'm a proud member of the LGBT community. I'm also frustrated. I'm frustrated because the fight for comprehensive sexual health education has stretched out for 8 long years, back to 2010 when the curriculum was first released and then withdrawn after 50 hours. Opponents of the curriculum in 2010 and again in 2015 have not only wildly misrepresented material that is in it, they've also spun conspiratorial tales about content that isn't. I've been asked to speak to you as a GSA leader. Let me tell you a little bit about that. 5 years ago, some 7th and 8th grade students, younger than you, along with another staff member and I, co-founded what we called a Rainbow Alliance. We believe it's one of the first GSAs in a K-8 school. And we were fortunate to be twice honored with the TDSB's GSA Award in 2014 and again this past spring. We were also invited by PFLAG Toronto at the flag-raising ceremony at Toronto City Hall marking International Day Against Homophobia, Transphobia, and Biphobia. I wasn't expecting the applause. That didn't happen to me during the teaching day. Some of our members have gone on to continue human rights work in secondary school, like all of you. We've organized Day of Pink, we've had speakers for Pride, we've raised the rainbow flag, we've even participated in Black History Month activities. One of our most effective campaigns as a school was the creation of friendship benches in the schoolyard. Places where children could find a playmate or somebody new to talk to. Our message, in its simplest form, is that every child in our school is deserving of friendship. That was my old school. I've moved to a new school this fall, and I'm very pleased to tell you that we had our first GSA meeting on Friday, the same day that 38,000 of you were out marching for the 2015 curriculum. As proud as I am of the work carried out by GSAs and QSAs that I've observed, I'm also worried. History shows us that whenever legislators roll back on the rights of queer and trans peoples, a couple of things tend to happen. We see a spike in hate crimes and hate speech against queer and trans folk. And this has a detrimental effect on the mental health of queer and trans youth. Let me give you an example from the grade 3 curriculum. An oblique reference to same-sex parents appears in a possible student response to an optional teacher prompt as part of a learning expectation on invisible and visible differences. Critics said this was age inappropriate. Obviously, I disagree. Here's why. In 2014, in the spring, when former Premier Wynne announced the return of the curriculum, I happened to have a 3rd grade homeroom. And in that homeroom, I had a small child who had 2 mums. Curiously, he had 2 mums in the 2nd grade, and in the 1st, and in kindergarten. He's in the 8th grade now, and guess what? Still has 2 mums. The health curriculum merely acknowledges that his family is real and that they can love and care for each other like any other. We simply cannot declare any child or their family as age inappropriate. In the years since, that child and his family, like so many other children and families, have borne witness to screaming crowds on these very grounds protesting that benign little teaching, the idea that there are many ways of being and loving in many kinds of families. As the son of a gay man born in 1930, and as a queer man myself born in 1960, I have a pretty good idea of what they're feeling. And so do many of you. I urge you to keep up the resistance. Make your placards, lace up your Nikes, and march. Keep after your administrators and school staff for support. stage letter writing campaigns, spray social media with your message, step before microphones and cameras, and rest every now and again to take care of yourselves. Please indulge me as I offer you young activists one small piece of advice. I'm a teacher, I'm an older guy, so I can't help giving advice. These are the words of a U.S. activist and writer named Jonathan Kozol, whose work I've admired for more than 30 years. Kozol writes, "Pick battles small enough to win and big enough to matter." Thank you, everyone, for this wonderful day.
Thank you so much, Gordon. All right, next.